Hi guys, I'm back. In one of my last videos that we did we processed 2 pumpkins. This is actually after I finished the video, I continued to process the rest of the pumpkin and the pumpkin skin and the rest of the guts that came from around the seeds. And I got all of this gorgeous pumpkin powder, and this is a airtight container. It's been doing really well for everyday use items, stuff that I don't want to seal in Mylar and have to rip open each time, but something that I want to keep nice and fresh, and it's airtight, but keep it nice and fresh. So I found these on Amazon. I don't even remember what they're called. They were on sale for Prime Day, and they were great. So we are going to be using some of this today. Believe in my coffee video or a while ago, I mentioned that I've got reactive hypoglycemia, and my endocrinologist suggested sorry, Ginger just made a noise, threw me off. My endocrinologist suggested that I take cornstarch pills to kind of level off my blood sugars so that I don't keep getting hypoglycemic lows. I don't want to take pills. I hate taking pills. So I decided to use tapioca pearls in my coffee and my water. It's made from tapioca starch, which is very close to cornstarch. There are some differences, but for this case, I'm trying to keep my blood sugars level. The tapioca pearls work great. I can add them to water. I can add them to my iced coffee, and making it myself, I don't have all the extra sugars that like a boba tea would come in, because it's made with like a third of the ingredients of the actual boba is sugar, and then it's in a sugar syrup. So I'm doing it without all the added sugar. So in the past, I've just bought pre-made mini tapioca pearls. That way they go up any straws that I have. I don't have to make sure I have a really big one. And today I'm going to try and make my own from scratch. So I've got tapioca starch right here. And a little goes a long way. So we're going to try making some mini tapioca pearls. They're not going to be perfect round, but hey, let's give it a go. So I'm going to turn on my element here. I already have a pot here with boiling water. I'll just turn that down. We'll need that for another step. So first, 3 tablespoons of tapioca starch. It says to use 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, but I'm going to use just under 1 because I don't want so much sugar. And now just enough water to kind of mix it. So I just got a spatula here, and we're going to mix it up into a paste. You want to mix all those clumps out. of hard to see the white tapioca on this white pan. And add a little bit more water. Alright. I think I'm going to switch out pans so you can see this better. Alright, here we go. We're on a dark pan now. We already had a bit of it coming together. So we just want to keep this moving, keep any lumps out, and it'll start coming together into like a dough. As we cook off all the water that's left. And cook the tapioca starch. Ooh, looks like we're getting there. Alright, I think we're just about there. I'll squish it out. Is there any more of that moisture? Collect it all from the edges. Ooh, it is warm. Alright, so I'm going to turn this off. Now I'm getting a little container. I'm going to put some cornstarch in it so it doesn't stick to the bottom. Even it around. I'm going to take our tapioca kind of dough. See, it's very dough-like now. I'm just going to put it in the fridge to cool. And we'll be right back after it's cooled. So it's out of the freezer. It's still slightly warm, but it's cool enough to handle. Spread it out. It likes to shrink back, but squish it down. And as you can see over here, I've already done some pumpkin ones. We'll get to that in a moment, but we'll first show you the plain. I'm going to add a little bit more cornstarch to my little bowl here. It's a little bit more than I wanted, but oh well. And all you're going to do is cut as small as you can to whatever size your straws are. I do have some big Boba straws, but I like to use some small metal straws too, so I'm going to try and cut these quite small. And as I cut, I'm going to, that raw edge is really sticky, so I'm just going to put it in cornstarch. Or sorry, more tapioca starch. Don't need to worry about having tons of tapioca starch on there because we're gonna strain it off later. So like I said, if you wanted to make big boba, you can cut it bigger. You know, nice boba size. Roll them up. And then you have a nice big boba. But, like I said, I use smaller straws. So I don't want them so big. So I'm even going to cut these in half again. And then take them, and I'm going to dice them into little pieces that should hopefully fit my straws. Having lots of cornstarch helps with the stickiness as we go. Add some more in to coat those open ends. And I could go and one by one try and roll them into perfect little balls. Like that little guy. But I don't care so much. So I'm going to take another container, and I've got a little sieve, and we're going to get the excess cornstarch off, or sorry, tapioca starch off. Roll around and come out the sieve all that extra cornstarch. Whoops. You want them just coated enough not to stick to each other. Okay, so our water is boiling. There's a slight orange tinge to them because, as I mentioned, I've already done some pumpkin ones, and that's still some of the water. It's still just warm water. So once you have your boba cut up and, shaped the way you wish, you just add it in. And give it a stir every now and then. So that they don't stick to the bottom. You want them to cook for about 20 minutes or so till they're fairly translucent. Like you see right now, it's still fairly opaque. You want them pretty translucent. While we're working on that, I'm going to show you how I made the pumpkin ones. Well, that's cooking away. Like I said, it's going to take about 20 minutes or so. I'm going to show you how I did the pumpkin ones. However, this time I'm going to use, this is a fruit and veggie powder that I made by freeze drying. So what I did first is I juiced a whole bunch of fruits and vegetables. There's beans, there's cucumber, broccoli, cauliflower, corn, apples, cucumber, oranges, berries, and of course, this lovely color is from some red beets. So that being said, so this is the freeze-dried powder from the actual juice, and it is quite sweet. And this is the freeze-dried powder from the pulp. So this has all the like fiber and stuff in it as well. Like I said, I'm adding this to my drinks daily, and to try and get a little bit of an extra boost instead of just plain carbs. By making it myself, like I said, I'm reducing the sugar a lot compared to store-bought. And then now I'm going to be adding fruits and vegetables and the nutrients from that. So I'll show you how I did that. So in this little bowl, I have my 3 tablespoons of tapioca starch. Next, I'm going to add about 80 milliliters of this fruit and veggie paste. That's something like that. I did add 1 tablespoon of white sugar. And instead of the other 1.5 tablespoons, I'm going to use the powder from the freeze-dried fruit and vegetable juice. Because like I said, it is quite sweet. You can see, hopefully, like the sugar crystals in that from the natural sugars. And add some water. And we're going to mix this up. I'm mixing it in the bowl here first this time instead of straight in the pan. See if that gives me a better control over the mixing and the lumps. As every now and then we still give a stir to the ones that are cooking. Just look at that color. Still have a few lumps in here. Try and get it all mixed up before adding it to the heat. Alright, I think we're just about there, so I'm going to turn on my pan. And wow, that color is just amazing. So just like before, we're going to move it around, keep moving it around until it forms into a dough. It actually doesn't take long at all for that to start happening. You can see it thickening. Fast forward till it's a dough.
Can I feed you?
Already did.
Oh, okay.
More boba. This part you're fast forwarding through.
Well, I kind of guessed if you're not talking and you're just stirring, you weren't. I'm coming up with some ideas for your channel now that we're playing, and I can recover a lot of stuff, even if it isn't exactly the way I want it to. But the weight will work for certain things. Even if I just get weird and artistic for a bit.
Okay. And start talking again. Okay. Alright, so this looks about done. I'm going to take it off the heat. Alright, so our fruit and veggie purple tapioca is done. This seems to be really sticky, so hopefully it's going to turn out alright. But I'm going to put it in cornstarch like the last one and put it in the fridge to cool down until it's workable. Alright, so our boba that's in, or our tapioca pearls that are in the pot are about done. There's still some, where's my camera? There's still some color to that, but it's fairly translucent. Like I can still see white in there, but it's kind of a clear white. So we're going to strain these out into some cold water. There we go. So first, I just poured them into a strainer, into this bowl, because I just put that hot water back on. That way I don't have to start from scratch to boil water for the fruit and veggie ones that boba that we're going to boil off. Kind of save some energy. And they're now in this cold water bath. And now that they've cooled off, you can see, or you can't, that they're right there. They're now clear. So next, to kind of keep them like these pumpkin ones are, you want to keep them in a liquid. Regular boba for boba teas or milk teas, whatever. They keep them in a sugar syrup. I'm just gonna put them in water because I don't want all that extra sugar. So I'm gonna grab another little container and I'm going to dump out most of this cold water. Caught a few. And there we have it. Our little bobas that'll fit in my straw. Yeah, they're not perfectly round, but they have that nice little bit of a chew that you get from bubble tea. So as you can see, we've got our plain and our pumpkin. So when I made the pumpkin, I used my pureed pumpkin, and instead of that veggie puree, I just used pumpkin and a little bit of pumpkin spice. So now I can add this to my cold brew coffee, and I've got a pumpkin spice coffee, bubble coffee, where I can control the sugar, control my carbs, make it the way I want. But each time one of these little pumpkin bobas, again, not in any sort of round shape, when I suck them up in my straw, it's like a little burst of pumpkin pie. Ooh, they're actually quite strong. So to drink them with my coffee, or even if I just put them in my water, you get a nice little flavor boost. Okay, so the fruit and veggie red boba are cooled down enough to handle. But I think as I'm mixing it here, it's getting really, the inside is still super sticky. So I'm gonna knead in some more tapioca starch. All right, there we go. And just like before, I'm just going to cut it. And this one, I was able to push it out thinner. It wasn't as thick, but like I said, it's much stickier, so I have to keep adding more starch. So as you can see, the ingredients amounts are very, very subjective, just depending on how it goes. And again, making these nice and thin. So that they can go through a normal straw. I use some metal straws, reusable straws. Or I have some silicone straws as well. So as I've cut this, there's lots of all the dark edges from where the knife cut is. I just want to cover those with more starch, turning them so that I can dice them the other way. Into, you can see, nice little pieces. And as before, I'm going to put them in a whole bunch of starch. And now I'm going to strain them off all that extra starch. So that's pretty good. We have most of the starch off. And all over my hands. Alright, so we're back at the pot. I've got my red boba and we're going to add it back in. And of course, as you add something to a pot, it cools it down. So we're just going to keep stirring this until it gets back to a boil. But as we can see, first to start, they're really dark, kind of a matte, like probably looks shiny, but just thick color. You want them, hopefully they'll get a bit translucent, just like the pumpkin ones and the plain. Well, we've been boiling here for a little while, and I think we're probably getting close. There's not much of a translucent vibe to them, but there is a little. Kind of looks like a little jelly. Think a few more minutes. All right, I think we're about done. So just like the last ones, I'm going to strain them and then put them into some cold water. Forgot to fill up the water, just a sec. So I've got my tapioca pearls in the boiling water. Strain them. And right in to some cold water. So here they are cooling in some cold water. Cold water helps them set up. Now I'm going to drain them. Just enough water to barely cover and put in a jar. They've kind of turned more of a brown, but veggies kind of change color when you boil them. So now that I have my plain, my pumpkin, and my fruit and veggie boba, I'm going to add them to a cup with my straw, and we'll see how they are. So some of the red, some of the plain, and some of the pumpkin. Just the dog's barking. All right, so while I untangled the dog from outside, I grabbed the container of water from the fridge. So I've got my boba at the bottom. See, just like a boba tea. Fruits and veggies, pumpkin and plain. Now let's see if I can get them through this straw. No, not quite small enough. So let me try another type of straw. I do have some bigger straw. They're not quite boba size, regular boba size, but they're better. And actually, these are ones I use more often. So, very good. So those fruit and veggie ones, they taste more like fruit punch with a slight hint of a beet finish, but I like beets, so good for me. Like I said, the pumpkin ones, it's like a pumpkin pie bursting in your mouth, and the plain are they're just there. So as you can see, it takes a bit of work, but you can definitely make your own boba. A few simple ingredients. You can customize them however you want, but a boba tea does not need to have like 500 calories of just sugar. So, I will see you next time. I'm going to finish off my drink. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment if there's something you want to see next, and let's go have fun with it, because why not?